What's going on, sports card collectors? It's Thursday. We have the NBA playoffs starts back up tonight, and I thought I would do a quick video since we have our conference finals teams established. I know that the Eastern Conference has already had one game under their belt. Give my feedback on players that need to step up for their team to win and keys of victory that they need to key on against the other team in order to win is also, if that makes sense. So players that need to step up and keys to victory. So without further ado, let's get started in that, and then we'll touch on some other things. With tonight's game being number 2 against the Celtics and the Heat, again, I'm a big Tatum fan, so I've been pulling for the Celtics, but I got to give it credit to the Miami Heat and Bam Adebayo for his block at the end of the game. By far, probably one of the best, if not the best blocks I've seen. Although I did grow up under the Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo era, Hakeem Olajuwon. So there's been some really nice blocks over the years, but by far, if anything, one of the best blocks that I've seen in a long time. With that being said, I still think the Celtics have the better team, but what I think needs to happen is back a while ago, I had talked about the Celtics when they were playing the Raptors in the beginning of that series and said that Marcus Smart needed to step up his game. He did. Now, the Celtics have been doing this all along without Gordon Hayward. Here's the key factor for the Celtics, I think. We know Hayward is not going to be available for Game 2 tonight, but they are expecting him to be back in this series. I do not, if I was the coach, want to put Hayward in as the starting role, but more as a key player, as a sixth man or seventh man coming off the bench to give relief. Marcus Smart has done a tremendous job, and there's no sense of ruining that whole flow in that sequence there that's been going on. So what I would like to see is we know what we're going to get out of Tatum. That's just a guarantee. We know what we're getting out of Smart. We need him to continue to stay consistent. But Brown's numbers were down. They were up and elevated. He was scoring 30 points, and Smart was scoring 26 there at the end of the series against the Raptors. Brown had kind of an off game. He needs to pick that back up. Kemba Walker's picked up back his. He kind of had an off series. He's been off anyways, but he's getting his numbers. And then the key that I see out of this is Daniel Theis. We know he's not a major scorer, but we also know that they do look for him. So he needs to find an opening. Now, me, myself, I played basketball. And back when I was in high school, I was actually considered a center, although I'm more of a point guard now, but was considered more of a center. And the idea is you need to find an opening, find a spot to get open, especially when there's dribble penetration, so that if there's a dish off, you're available and ready for it. Now, that's key for Theis, especially with somebody like Kemba Walker and Tatum that do like to drive to the basket. Theis needs to get into an area where he's available for a drop-off or a putback rebound. But my keys to that is Brown's got to pick his game up, and Smart needs to stay consistent where he is. He can't drop off. My keys to the game is Celtics, out of everything, need to contain Butler. We've seen when Butler goes to the bench, their offense kind of dies off. I know Goran Dragic is there, and he's been a consistent player on the court, but we also see that there's a spike when Butler comes back in. So the key for the Celtics is to make sure that they contain Butler, make somebody else beat you. But when Butler's out on the court, you need to disrupt him. That's just my opinion on that. On a flip side, for the Heat, for them to continue winning and to go on to the NBA championship, I believe that Butler needs to continue what he's doing. But I would like to see, you've seen Crowder. Crowder's coming into his own the last few games. Bam Adebayo has been consistent, and we know we're getting out of Dragic. What we need to see, and I've said this before, is Tyler Herro. He's got ice in his veins. He's not afraid to put it up, and he's been solid standing up against and trying to guard Tatum, which he's having a hard time doing. But Tyler and Robinson need to bring their game up in order. Heat got lucky, and I say lucky because of the fact that it went to an overtime. That block probably won't normally happen. If you normally watch the games, you don't normally see anything like that at the end of a game with a block. It happened this time. They stole one. But for them to continue and to put the hammer down on them, on the Celtics, they need to continue. And Herro and Robinson need to step their game up. Plus, Herro's a perfect a card right now to be collecting. If you go on eBay and look at his cards, the prices keep going up and up. I was looking at the optics and the prisms just to see if I could jump on a few to grab some of those to grade, and the prices are going up and up, and we'll see if I can snag a couple of those at a reasonable price. The good thing is it's only going to go up. It's not going to go down. I know there's been a cool off period, but cards are selling. I've talked about on my previous videos that I had a cool off for 4 or 5 days. Then I sold one, then I was cooled off. I've been selling every day again, so that's nice to see as well. The keys to the Miami Heat for them, their big thing is they're going to have to contain Tatum, and they're going to have to contain Brown. Now, what I mean by that is we need to try to slow down Tatum. They need to slow down Brown, and they kind of did that in game 1. Make somebody else beat you. What you don't want is Kemba Walker to get hot, but he's been off. So until he shows differently that he can get into a streak, I let Kemba Walker or Marcus Smart or give it to Tice for right now. As far as them, let them beat you in that aspect. It's no different than playing organized basketball in high school or at the park. If you're in a summer league, what's the lesser of your 2 evils or 3 evils is who's the one that's going to do the most damage out on the court. Well, if you're a basketball coach, you're going to say the guy with the basketball is going to do the most damage on the court because he's the one that's got the ball that needs to score the basket. Aside from that, I get the basic techniques of that as far as basketball goes, but who out there is going to do the most damage? And Tatum scoring 30-some points, and if Brown has another game of scoring 30 points, those are 2 deadly duos right there that you do not want both to get going. So if you can contain the 2 of them and make them distribute their scoring elsewhere, it's going to throw off their sequence, it's going to throw off their flow, and it's going to give the Heat, in my opinion, a better chance to advance on. On to the next one in the Western Conference Finals, I believe starts Friday, which is tomorrow. You have the Lakers and the Nuggets. My hat's off to the Nuggets. Kudos to them. I clap it up. You cannot deny what Jamal Murray has done going back to the original series before the Clippers when they were down 3-1, and he talked about on ESPN there, he was packing up his clothes and he said, you know what, I'm not ready to go home yet, and he sent the text out and they showed it. They were not ready to go home yet. Jamal Murray has been a beast, but there has been times where he's been contained, and when he's been contained, it seems to be that's when they lose. So we know what we can get out of Murray. We know what we can get out of Jokic. Gary Harris is still trying to get his legs back underneath him. Jeremy Grant has been inconsistent. Porter Jr. has shown some flourishing moments, making it look like he's a veteran and not a rookie. And then Millsap has been showing that he's a veteran and he can do it. What I don't understand is Millsap in game 6, was the reason why they came from behind in the first place. He triggered it, and then you didn't see him at all in the fourth quarter. I don't know why that is. That's a coach's decision. But for me, your key guys going on for the Nuggets, for them to continue winning, I think they need to look at Porter Jr. I think we need to get some more production out of him, and I think you need to rely on your veteran leadership in Millsap. I'm not saying he needs to play all kinds of hours, because I'm pretty sure he probably can't. But with that veteran experience that he has and his capabilities of driving and scoring from the outside, you need to look at Millsap and Porter Jr. And Porter Jr. is still one of my key guys that you need to collect, and his prices keep going up and up as well. You're not buying stuff dirt cheap with with Porter Jr. either. Millsap, I bet you could get really cheap right now, but I don't foresee his prices really spiking at this point in his career. Murray and Jokic, of course, they've been climbing up in sports card prices. But I think that right now we're going to get that out of them. Murray's got that ice in his veins also, and Jokic, he can pass, he can shoot, he's bringing the ball up, for crying out loud. So, but the two key guys there is Porter Jr. and Millsap. The keys to winning still on the flip side of that is they know what they're going to get out of James and Anthony Davis. What I would be trying to do is trying to contain Davis and make LeBron work. We know he's in good shape, but he also knows he needs his rest. Sometimes James likes to force things. So I would say my thing is to try to contain Davis, which takes one of the guys out of the picture of your two duos, two powerhouses. Make James distribute around and have them see if they could get some of their younger guys to try to do some scoring, which with no playoff experience, other than Rondo out there, that might be a big defeat. Actually, JaVale McGee as well. So that's just my opinion on that. On the flip side, I'm a Lakers fan. I'm actually happy we're not playing the Clippers, but I'm not happy. The Nuggets are a scary team. I just wanted to see us play the Clippers only because I, as a Lakers fan, get tired of hearing that the Clippers are the new LA team in town, and the LA Clippers are this and the LA Clippers are that. And then you hear these star players say, well, this wasn't a do or die season. We didn't have to win the championship. Well, then my question is, why did you go after all these players? Why did you trade for all these players to get on your team or sign for free agents to stack up your team only to fail? So yes, this was a big push for a championship season, and I bet you Doc Rivers would sit there and say, yeah, we didn't go into the season knowing that we weren't going to make it into the finals. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. To me, that's just a team that does not know how to work together, and honestly, they weren't the same pieces of the puzzle. You're trying to get working parts here, role players that can accompany your superstars, and I think that's what the Lakers have done, as opposed to the Clippers. I think they got a lot of role players, but there's a lot of back stuff that's going on in there as well with them in their heads and individually that needs to be worked out. Not only that, but I think the Clippers didn't have a real true center. Zubac's okay, and they say they want to work on him. And Montrezl Harrell, you can't deny his work ethic, but the size isn't there. They're small centers, and that's where you see they got beat by Jokic. And I think the Lakers, that's the same thing. You got Anthony Davis, you got JaVale McGee, you got Dwight Howard. Those are some big boys in there, and there's some veteran experience in there. So for the Lakers, the key for them to win is, we already know we got James and Davis, but we need to see Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Danny Green. They need to get their shooting on. I have never in my life, as I did in the first round, see so many air balls go up by NBA players, number one, but veteran NBA players that are getting paid big bucks, and their specialty is the three-point line. So how do you put up a three-pointer and chuck up so many air balls or hit the side of the backboard as much as the Lakers did there in the beginning of the series, watching the bubble? That's embarrassing to me to watch, but I think we need to get consistency out of Caldwell-Pope and Danny Green with their shooting, especially from the outside. Rondo, you're going to get that veteran leadership out on the court, which is going to help with LeBron out there leading the way. And Anthony Davis, this is new territory for Anthony Davis because he's not used to this as well, but he does have experience as far as being playing under the pressure and being the guy that's double teamed and whatnot from playing from other teams with the Pelicans. The keys for the Lakers to continue on, besides those two players stepping up, for me, would be to take Murray out of the equation. I don't think you can contain Jokic because if he's not shooting, he's going to pass. But we've shown that when Murray's not getting his numbers and he's held to 14 or 16 points, it takes the Nuggets out of their game as well. I think the Nuggets are fuel-driven based on what is happening out on the court and what's positively happening out on the court for them. If Jamal Murray is coming down and he's driving in and scoring, or he's driving and doing a step-back three, that is where it's key for Murray. I think if we take Murray out of the game, the Lakers have this wrapped up because there's just too many big guys to throw at Jokic that will wear him down. He's going to need a breather. And nothing against Mason Plumlee. He is a hustler, but he's not a Jokic. So those are my keys for those four teams, guys. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be doing a drawing for our giveaway. It's going to be I got an empty box here, but it will be the 2019-20 Panini Illusions. It's actually a sealed, unopened box we'll be giving away. If you haven't found out the information on that, go ahead and check out our video. I'll put the link down below. Let's talk about GMA Part 2. I have it at the end of that video. So if you haven't done so, give us a follow on YouTube, give us a follow on Instagram. And I never thought about this, guys, and I did post it back in the description of that video. If you don't have an Instagram, that's fine. Subscribe to our channel and then just mark done in the comments. I don't want to keep anybody out of it just because they don't have Instagram and can't subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page. I appreciate it. We are up over 200 subscribers, so thank you very much to everybody that subscribed. If you're thinking about subscribing, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can pick and choose whether or not you listen to me or you play the video. If you do enjoy it and you want to know when I post another video, why not hit the bell down below so that it'll alert you and notify you when I have another video up. So I do appreciate that. Guys, don't forget to follow us. The live video won't be live. It'll be a tape video. Maybe I'll get into live video here, the next one that I do. But the video will be posted up tomorrow afternoon before the NBA game starts, the Laker game starts. So I'll do it up early evening. I'm on the East Coast, so it'll be later afternoon, early evening. It'll be posted up. I'll have the drawing. I probably will also have a Chronicles blaster box break that I will do in the meantime with that also. So it's just not a quick 1-minute video. And we'll draw the name and then the user's name or the name, however it's posted in the comments section. I will announce it. I'll put the description down below of how to contact me. It'll just be my email address to send me your shipping information, and we will roll from there. Probably I might even have you just send me a direct message. That way I know it's not. That way I know it's you, and I don't get 15 different people saying ship it here. So, guys, I do appreciate it. As always, look for us tomorrow for the drawing. I'm excited to do this, and the feedback I get is a lot of people are excited to do this. You know, I don't have 1,500 boxes. Any boxes you see in the background, those are all empty. I don't have a lot of stock at all. Matter of fact, this Illusions box that I'm giving away tomorrow, it's the only one that I have left. But I just feel like I want to give back because I'm excited about the card collecting. I'm excited about basketball cards in general. And I just want to show my appreciation for those that have subscribed to me. And hopefully moving forward, we can do more of this stuff, or we can make it bigger and better and advance it. So with your guys' support, I can continue on with it, and I appreciate it. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.